What's up guys, my name is Petar and today I want to talk about the, in my opinion, most underrated and underused guitar pedal there is, and that you definitely need to own whether you're a beginner or a more experienced guitar player. If you like videos like this, make sure to drop like and subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification button so that you don't miss any of my future uploads. So before going any further and me telling you what is my personal pick as the most important pedal to own as a beginner or experienced guitar player, please let me know down in the comment section what is your pick and most importantly why. So the moment you've been all waiting for, this is the pedal that I've been talking about. This is an EQ pedal, and I personally think that EQ pedal is the most important pedal to own as the beginner or the more experienced guitar player. The brand really doesn't matter that much, and this one is Boss EQ200. It's a bit more expensive one and has a lot of features, but even the most basic EQ pedal can shape your tones in ways that you probably didn't expect and didn't know about. So stay long enough in the video to see me presenting the case of why this is the most important pedal. Now let's talk about why actually is an EQ pedal the most important pedal to own. Well, mainly because the EQ is the most important tool that you can have in regards to shaping the tone of your guitar without, for example, changing the pickups or changing the complete guitar. You can use the EQ to replicate clean boost pedals, you can use the EQ to replicate pickup sounds, you can use the EQ to change the sound of your amp, for example, or you can do literally everything with an EQ, and in my opinion this is amazing thing that you really need to have, and once you see what it could be done with it and for how cheap you can get certain pedals, it's in my opinion absolute no-brainer to be the first guitar pedal that you need to own. So let's move on to the example section where I'll be showing you a couple of tips and tricks you can do with an EQ pedal. Let's try to replicate a couple of the most famous circuits there is, Tube Screamer or maybe 14 Grind 33, and try to get some of the most famous tones just by using an EQ pedal. Okay, so for the purpose of this demo, I will be using my guitar here. This is Caparison TAT II with Bareknuckle Juggernauts. In the end, it really doesn't matter, we're just shaping the guitar tone. And you can see here the EQ pedal has all the sliders at the middle, so nothing is going on, it's not even turned on at the moment. And I'm going so straight from the guitar into the EQ pedal, and then from the EQ pedal it goes into my amp, and then I'm recording everything in Cubase. So what we're going to do is that I'm going to play you first how the guitar sounds only, and then we're going to engage the pedal and lead you through some of the examples that we can do. In the meantime, I will be explaining what this stuff is. So as you can see, there are here some numbers. Those numbers represent the frequencies. So we have 30 Hertz up until 12.8 kilohertz. And each slider represents the frequency in the spectrum, and so we can, for example, you can see on this screen when I do something like, for example, 800, that's the exact middle position, so the middle frequencies that usually guitars reside around. And for example, if you want to cut absolute low frequencies of the guitar, you just do down, or if you want to boost those, you go up. And we have the level slider, which basically just gives us the volume or reduce the volume, overall volume, like a clean boost or clean, I don't know, what's opposite of the boost. So yeah, we have the 15 decibels possibility to go up in the volume or down in the volume. So yeah, let's move on to the first example where I will show you something. Okay, so let's first try to do stuff with this pedal, and let me show you what this pedal can actually do before we move on to the more specific examples of me trying to shape the tone. So for example, here is my guitar just without the pedal engaged, just straight into my amp, and it sounds like this. So nothing special going on there. So we can engage the pedal and probably nothing will change because everything is at the middle. As you can hear. So let's try and dial in some frequencies or remove some frequencies. So for example, let's start with the most pronounced frequencies, so the mid frequencies of the guitar. So let's try with, for example, 800. Let's boost it a bit. Quite a big difference. Let's reduce it. Big difference again. Back to normal. So this is how my guitar sounds on its own. So let's try 1.6K. Or down. So you can hear definitely that there's a lot of tonal shaping possibilities. And these options give us a lot of flexibility when it comes to tone shaping. So for example, let's I don't know, cut some of the highs and add some of the lows. So without, it sounds like this. And then with the pedal engaged, you can hear quite a big difference there. Now let's do the opposite. Let's boost the highs and reduce the lows. For example, like this. Let's see. So this is how the guitar sounds on its own. And then when disengaged, pretty nasty. But yeah, let's now continue on to the more concrete examples of what we can do with this pedal. Okay, let's try to replicate the famous Tube Screamer, you know, clean boost into the amp to tighten it up, something that all the metalheads now know how to use and do it. So, guitar sounds like this at the moment. Oops, I'm out of tune a bit, but doesn't matter. So, let's try and do the famous Tube Screamer curve. So let's engage the pedal. I will cut some lows, and then around 800 or somewhere in between 1.6K there is a boost, and then it goes up and then it goes down again a bit. Something like, not as drastic as this, but something similar. So we can tone shape it, definitely. So before, after. Before. And let's try to boost the volume a bit even more. So for example, around, I don't know, 10 dB or something like that of boost. Without. With. So just by doing that curve and having the pedal on and adding a bit of volume, I pretty much got the similar tones that I usually get out of the Tube Screamer. So let's now try, for example, to do something more brutal and something more extreme with the EQ pedal. You know probably about the famous 14 grind pedal. So it has pretty extreme EQ curves, so let's try to replicate that. So, as always, guitar sounds like this. And let's turn the pedal on. And I pretty much know that the grind looks something like this, like very extreme cuts and very extreme highs. So something like this, more or less. and then boosted quite a lot. So a lot of noise, but let's see if I got it right. $15 dB boost. And off. So you see and hear that's a huge difference in tone. Maybe not as drastic cut, but let's try. So yeah, you can hear that just by using this curve you can clean up extremely low. If you have some 7-string or 8-string guitar, this is an EQ curve that you can definitely use and experiment to clean up the lows and yeah, get even more gain. So another similar sounding, it's not exactly like this for the Fortingrind 33 or whatever, but this is the main concept of the pedal. Okay, so in this example, let's try to make something completely opposite from the Tube Screamer-like pedals. Let's try to something different, something weird. Let's add lows, hot mids, and make it a bit more sludgy, doomy, something like that sound. So let's go again. Pedal on, and then let's boost the lows, cut the mids, for example, and a bit of highs. Let's try boosting highs and cutting mids. This is gonna sound like shit, but let's try. And then back to normal. So yeah, that's another example of how you can use this pedal. So let's try now to play with some cleans. For example, let's try to play the cleans on the humbuckers, so on the bridge humbuckers, so it sounds like this, for example. And let's try to make it, I don't know, more glassy sounding, for example, more, you know, cleaner stuff. So let's turn the pedal on and let's boost the highs a bit and a bit of lows. Let's try. And off. That's a very drastic difference just by having the humbucker and running through the EQ pedal. Off, on. Let's do the opposite. Let's make it warmer, for example. So let's try to boost mids, and I hope that works. Let's see what happens if we do something like this to clean tones. Okay, let's boost lows a bit and cut a bit highs. So, yeah, sounds cool. Big difference again. So if you saw the previous examples, then you know that there's a lot of things that you can do with an EQ pedal. If you feel that your guitar is not sounding exactly how you want it, use an EQ pedal. If you think some other pedals don't sound the way you want it, use an EQ pedal. Do you maybe need a couple of clean boosts, different ones, with a different EQ curve? Well, look no more. Use an EQ pedal. As I already said, knowing about EQ, knowing how it works and why it works like that and what you can do with it makes the EQ pedal the most versatile pedal that you can have in your tool chain, and in my personal opinion this should be the first pedal that you buy. Not a specific this one, or if you have money buy it, but there's a lot of EQ pedals that are very cheap to get into and to buy, and they do a very good job. So make sure to have an EQ pedal in your pedal chain. So as I already said, I personally believe that knowing what an EQ is, what it does, how it works, and especially having it in pedal forms give you an absolute control over your tone of the guitar. And I especially believe that every beginner guitar player should have the EQ pedal as their first pedal to own, because it kind of pushes you to learn what the tone is, how it works, how everything comes together, and how to shape your guitar without resorting to other pedals like overdrive pedals, fast distortions, reverbs, phasers, and so on and so on. So as a beginner, buy this, buy a cheaper version, and try shaping your tone of the guitar. Maybe your guitar doesn't sound as good as you think. Try shaping it with an EQ pedal and you'll be really surprised what you can achieve with it. After all, everything that we do with the tone of the guitar is just adding frequencies, removing frequencies, and adding additional frequencies using overdrives and saturation. So in the end, it's all about frequencies, and the EQ pedal targets that directly. Thank you guys for taking your precious time to watch this video. I really hope you enjoyed it and you learned something new. If you have any comments or questions, just drop them down in the comment section. Of course, I would really appreciate like and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to click the bell notification icon so that you don't miss my future uploads. And yeah, until next time, stay safe and see ya.